Teresa? Microphone check 1, 2. How's my audio? I got it set up just a little bit different. And I got it hooked into my iPhone. So we're going to take calls that way. Why not, right? How's it sound? Okay, awesome. What's up, Bill? Good to see you, man. How's everything with you? Hey, what's up, Bossy? Over here. Thank you. Okay, so this time, instead of jumping on StreamYard, you guys want to call in, just hit that number there at the bottom. You won't be able to be on the screen, but everybody will be able to hear your voice. Thank you, What's up, Mike? Lisa? Thank you, Teresa. Thank you for the super sticker. Drove down to the Florida Keys. Wasn't impressed. Never had an urge to go out to Florida, really. Alrighty. Well, let's get the party started, huh? Reach into my soul. Good to see you. Seashore girl. What's up? Yeah, if anybody wants to call in, just hit that number. I have my iPhone hooked into my sound card. So who's going to be my first guinea pig? That means nobody's blocked. So this is going to be, and this gives me an opportunity to kind of screen everything. And you can always just block your number too. So don't forget. What is that? Star 67? Star 67 or, yeah, I think that might be it. The Oregon coast, yeah. Never been, but I have family that owns property up there, and I see all these great photos. I mean, they live right on the ocean. It's like a ranch. No, I didn't cut my hair. I'm growing my beard out. That's if you're seeing something different. I always do that in the winter. It's just a habit, I guess. Well, I did grab a couple pieces of information I wanted to go over here. There's no particular order, but I think I want to start here with that video I did reading parts of Kegan Klein's transcript where he talks about meeting somebody in Las Vegas. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. And then I also want to talk about the huge pedo ring that was discovered. And we're not going to spend too much time on that, on the Kegan Klein information. We're going to move over to some stuff that J. Kyle Keener put out there in regards to some of the evidence he saw. So he witnessed the evidence and kind of gives a brief description of what he saw with some specific details that will kind of help us maybe look at the crime scene a little bit better. We'll look at that. What else did I pull? Oh, just some interesting findings that I had kind of laying around. I might even start with that. Yeah, I just pulled up. I think this is from indiegreenways.org. It was just something really strange, and it just kind of helped me to see other scenarios and other theories. Because two things can exist at once. You can walk and you can chew gum. So you could have a pedophile catfishing young girls happening while there's a chance encounter. Burston doesn't think so, and that's a quote. He said, not likely. I think he said that at a presser. All right, let's put this up on the screen. Now, this isn't anything really directly related to the double homicide of Abby and Libby, but it is related to the Monon High Bridge. So I thought it was interesting. So this was a post by a guy named Mark, September 20th, 2011, 12:49 p.m. He writes, "This is great to see small towns use the assets they already have on hand to create wonderful experience for those willing to seek it out. My father grew up in Delphi, Indiana, and when I sent him this, he thought it was nice to see his old town. He told me an anecdote of camping around those places, especially by the old Monon Railroad High Bridge, where one of his buddies had to run back across the bridge because a train was approaching while he was attempting to cross it. He has always been an avid outdoorsman, camper, and with a locale like this to grow up in, I can see why he loves the outdoors. Trails and systems like these are part of the solution. Better this in nature and small towns than a couple of huge box stores right off the highway. Perhaps another thing to note is the statewide trail system and the ambition of those involved." So that kind of reminded me of like a Dan McCain, the McCains, or even just anybody involved in the historical society there. I've been watching this really creepy show called The Watchers. I don't know if you guys had a chance to check it out. It's on Netflix. It's pretty much a true crime like series, but it's really strange, the things that they say and how it seems like it could possibly relate. Obsessive compulsion. What do you do when a sadist becomes obsessed with something and you're in the way of that? All right, let me catch up on the chat real quick. How's it going, Lisa? Hey, Babs. Thank you. Yeah, I'm interested to see if this is even going to work. I called my wife, and it seemed like it works, but I never know if it's going to actually be broadcasting through. I mean, it should. No, all the signals look good, so I don't see why it wouldn't. I guess I'm more curious than anything. Oh, what's up, Res Kid says current update on Indiana FBI child trafficking ring. FBI Indiana still cannot find 28 missing Indiana children. Oh man. Human trafficking. Um Missing children. I mean, you got to really pay attention to where your kids are. And it could just be like a split second. Thank you, Miss Thang. Says hit the like button. It does help the channel. Unless that's like some kind of myth. I don't know. I need to read more into that. Psych, what's going on? My granddaughter goes to IU, and I warn her constantly about missing white women syndrome. That's what they call it on campus and in Bloomington. Sad but true. I don't know. I don't know if I believe in that. I just think that it seems like the United States, the population is, I think, more white than anything else. So when it happens, there's more people to, that probably have more of a interest. But I don't know. I'd have to look into that. Thank you, D. Oh yeah, The Watchers. It's really good so far. I'm enjoying it. It's super true crimey. I'm gonna start episode 5. I'm letting the wife catch up. I snuck in a couple episodes. Hey, Casper. Hey, what's going on, Derek? Good to see you. How was the ZA? I hope I'm not missing calls. My phone keeps acting weird. If you're trying to call in and I'm not answering, please let me know. That's a good question. It looks like they scheduled his court date. I think they left something on the table, like room for discovery, or I can't remember the details. But I did post the links to all that information on my channel if you want to go to the community area. Thanks, Mike. Yep. Shout out to Marvin Frank. Big up. Hey, Delphi. No box would have sufficed. Yeah, let me go check on that poll. I always forget. Let's just close it out before I forget, and we can talk about it for a minute. Yeah, I guess there isn't really that option, huh? Kind of shows where I'm at on it. All right. Let me take a little snippet of that. Alrighty. So I tried to keep it simple, and I wanted to keep some attention on Ron Logan because people seem to still be discussing him. And we'll touch on the whole Ron Logan thing just momentarily, just for those of you who are still curious. Could Kegan Klein be the BG or his accomplice? 56% said most definitely. I'm in that group for sure. I'm a little surprised that in number 2 came the red herring. But that's what made me think about the Watchers, like some kind of weird corruption. But this is not a movie. Like, this is real life. We got to stay grounded. Occam's razor status. These are real people. Jeffrey Dahmer was a real person. People knew him. He was a coworker. He wasn't some evil character on some Hollywood movie. He was a real person. The person who did this crime is a real person, and it could be something extremely simple. And yes, Ron Logan, he does fit that, but I just don't think it's that simple. What do you guys think? Yeah, I love that cast. What was her name in Dexter? It took me the whole first episode. I was like, where do I know her from? She just looks like she aged a little bit. Mm-hmm. Never ending list of suspects. I could never get into that, D. Okay. While we're catching up on the chat, I'm gonna load up that video I did a while back of reading the transcript. This is basically the Vegas trip, and it almost sounds like. And the reason I did it was almost just I was doing it for myself at first because I wanted to hear the conversation and how it played out. I wanted to hear how it was like organically, and then it just ended up blowing my mind. Like it almost sounded like Kegan was interviewing them, like asking them questions almost at the same time of kind of like how much do they know. Do they know why I was really in Vegas? So let me get your opinion on this. I think it's about 8 minutes, and I'll be hanging out in the chat with you guys while we watch it. And at any point, if anybody wants to call in, feel free. The lines, it's wide open for you guys.
He's like one of your best friends as well, is he not?
I mean, he's a good friend, yeah.
How come when you rattled off the list of friends you'd known previously, you omitted the drug dealer friend?
Why would I?
Yeah, he's like pretty much like seeming like one of your best friends, if not your best friend.
Yeah, I mean, he was a good friend of mine.
So you gave them a list of your friends twice when they interviewed you previously, and you completely omitted drug dealer friend. You didn't even mention him. And even today you still haven't mentioned your drug dealer friend. And you even asked me why I asked you.
Well, because there's a reason why
Hi,
you
Laura.
don't look up the drug dealer friend in Indiana. Look that
No,
up.
tell me why. I don't have no idea.
Because he's a drug dealer big time. I don't want my name associated with someone that sells pounds of weeds. I don't want that. I
Thank
don't
you,
want to
Olivia.
say that and then Peru Police Department be like, okay, well, he messes with someone that you know sells large amounts of weed. Let's
You
watch him.
just
Let's
said,
arrest him.
but you just said friend one sells you weed and you're fine with associating
Friend one?
with him.
I mean, friend one don't have no weed, and I really
You
don't.
said he sells you weed,
Yeah, but I'm saying like,
but you associate with him and you.
okay, well, an ounce of
So
weed is a
why?
little different than a
Why?
pound. The cops aren't gonna come raid his house over 1 ounce of
If he's
weed.
selling weed, absolutely.
Okay, well, you guys need to find something better to do if you're raiding people's
So
houses
he
for an ounce
he
of
just
weed.
gets 1 ounce. He gets it and puts it in on the table and goes, "That's for Kegan. 1 ounce. That's how I'm gonna make money as a drug dealer. I'm going to sell 1 ounce to one
Did
particular
I say that?
person." You said only all he has is 1 ounce of weed.
I. What I'm saying is a small time drug dealer is a lot different than someone that's selling pounds of weed. That's big difference.
Then why were you good friends with him?
Why you think I had no job? I mean, put it together, you know what I mean? Figure it out.
Why'd you blow him off in Vegas?
My drug dealer friend? Because I get the weed or nothing. I could not get
What's up,
anything he
Jim?
wanted. And I looked for it out there, and I'm sure you looked at
I
my
think the
phone.
more thing that I'm concerned about over a guy that you're meeting,
I'm saying, like, I met the guy, talked to him about weed.
okay, but what I'm more concerned about of that is, boy, did we just give you something from 2017 that you were able to remember just like that.
Because I know my drug dealer friend. He's my best friend.
But yet you know nothing about a girl that was murdered. You remember?
Yeah, because I didn't know her. Yeah, I don't know, spend years of my life with the person that got murdered. Yeah, I know drug dealer friend. Like, it's like my good
What's But
friend.
then you just told us, well, I don't want to associate with him.
Yeah, I don't want to tell them his name. What do you mean? I don't want to be like, yeah, I know
Okay,
drug dealer
they would
friend.
have just said, okay, drug dealer friend.
No, you can't. You can put wheels in motion. I mean, it's not hard to find out who he is, and he's been arrested for all that stuff,
And
you
friend
know.
one has never been arrested?
Well, I don't think so. Not that I
What did you
know of.
mean when
He
you
went
said
into the
all of this was
military.
pointing towards friend one?
Like, you know, I'm on someone's country, whatever you said, country club road on someone's Wi-Fi. I never in someone's house on country club road ever. I don't even know where that is. I know that those roads meet or it's something country with Papa Pike. I literally have no clue. Like, I don't know anyone. I don't know anything about the whole case. Like, yeah, it looks terrible, I promise you. Like, I know you guys are looking for that person. It's not me. I know absolutely nothing, and I get the whole.
Yes, you do, man. Yes, you do.
I swear to God, I don't.
Yes, you do.
I really don't. I don't.
I just can't wrap my head around you willing to put all this on you. Why are you protecting somebody else?
Who am I protecting? What are you talking
I
about?
mean, obviously you said that you didn't kill them, right?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
You think I know who killed him?
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Absolutely, because you know.
Jessica, I'm going to stop this real quick and answer this question. How you doing? What do we think the focus on friend one is? Do we think law enforcement thinks he's involved? Why are they grilling KK about him? I don't think they're grilling KK about friend one. They're obviously not interested in friend one at all. What it seems like to me, and I'm not saying he's not involved, I'm just saying it sounds like law enforcement doesn't think that at all. It seems to me more that Kagan is just trying to put it on him. Like, don't look over here, look over here. Or he's just trying to mislead them or um, maybe slowly evolve into like trying to pin it on somebody else. And maybe that's what he's doing now with his father. You know, first it was, I'm going to try to pin it on this guy, you know, because he was my roommate. And then when that doesn't work, I'm going to try to, then I guess, you know, when my father leaves me stranded, I'll try to pin it on him.
Why I know that.
Well, you obviously are terrible at your job if you really honestly think that you're absolutely
Do
terrible
you
at your
know who
job.
killed those girls?
No.
Hang on. I'm not literally asking you right now. Do you know for sure who killed those girls? No. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, no. You did say no both times in your polygraph, and guess what? That was deception.
Hey, a lot of people fail those lie detectors, those things you're talking about. Why do you
Not
think those in court?
double
There's a reason
homicide.
that You can't have a polygraph in court because people fail it like me with anxiety problems that are freaking out.
But those people that fell for other cases or whatever you're referring to weren't talking to the victim of a crime the day of, weren't grooming them.
O.J. Simpson, yes, he
Well, you
was.
looked that up too?
Yeah, I
But
know about it. What do you
weren't
mean?
sending pictures
You
to the
don't know who O.J.
victim,
Simpson
didn't
is?
say, is it bad that I'm super into you? I just don't understand why you're protecting the person. I mean, was it as simple as you just said, hey, I'm going to Highbridge and told somebody?
I literally have no clue about anything about
Yeah, that's what it
that.
sounds like, Lisa.
But yet you were,
You can come in here and literally talk for 24 hours straight.
but yet
I
you
don't know
remember
anything.
110% that you had a conversation with a guy in Vegas
Yes,
on 2/23
because I'm supposed to make thousands of dollars. Yes.
about weed, about buying weed,
Yes.
buying to smoke weed.
No.
You said you talked.
To sell weed. I talked to him about my drug dealer friend. He said, "Why did you bring up drug dealer friend?" I met
You don't
that guy.
associate.
Let's pause it there. Hey, Big Fish says, or he didn't do it. So he's trying to figure out who did, since they keep telling him all this is on his phone. Yeah, that's very possible too. Like somebody could just be using him. So when he is passed out, like maybe he did suspect somebody was using his phone and he really did think like maybe it was friend one. But it could really have been, his father. It sounds like they believe it might be his father. But I think it is possible that, like he could have been in the Jeep unaware, um, maybe not even knowing why he was there. So I mean, it's all possible. It's all on the table. We just kind of follow the information where it goes. See what happens.
Yourself with your drug dealer friend.
That's it. No, cops, I don't.
So
Of
why'd
course
you
I
blow
don't.
off your drug dealer friend?
Because I couldn't get it. I met up with the guy. That's the only guy I could find.
Why not?
It's literally
Why not meet and tell him that? Yeah, I couldn't. I couldn't go party and have fun.
because he's waiting on it. If he's waiting on me, he needs,
Are you scared
to find this.
of somebody? What they're going to do?
I swear on.
If you say
No.
something,
I literally don't know anything. Like I was supposed to make thousands of dollars by finding him.
I'm not
this week,
talking
that's
about the
it.
weed anymore.
I know, but I'm saying like that's what I'm saying.
Who are you afraid to tell me that was using the Anthony Shots account?
Nobody. I told you friend one. That's the only person that could have had
Not
my
in Vegas.
phone. Okay.
He's not talking to Liberty.
I don't remember talking
So who was?
to them.
Okay, then who was?
I don't know. Obviously, it was me, but I don't remember it. You don't know
We
what I
had this
mean.
case a while back. This guy had this fucking little kid was in the bathroom and overflowed the toilet. So he yells for help. The dad gets pissed off, comes at the kid. Mom intervenes. The dad punches the mother. She runs away. He chases her down, hits her, bites her in the stomach, runs back inside, slams the kid's head into the toilet, fractures his orbital socket, puts him upside down, starts dunking his head into the toilet that was overflowed. Now, what would you
Jesus
think about
Christ.
that guy?
He should get hung right now.
So that guy should get killed?
Yeah, 1,000%.
What do you think that person is capable of?
What if that person capable of?
Yeah, what would you think a person like that is capable of?
Probably anything. He just killed some
Well, he
kid.
didn't kill the kid. The kid lived.
Oh shit. Well, I mean, he obviously tried to kill this kid, whether he lived or not. I still think he should die.
Step out for a second. I'll be right back. Do you have enough water? I appreciate you.
And I want you to know I'm literally not lying to you. Like I know this is your job and I swear.
Kegan.
Look. No, will please listen to me for a second? I know how bad.
It's hard for me to listen.
Because people lie to you every single day.
Well, it's not only just people, but I sit here and I hear you say that.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
And my gosh, is it familiar? Because you said the same thing to the investigators when you talked to you about this before.
Exactly.
And I'm not talking about the Delphi stuff. I'm talking about the child porn, child solicitation. You talked to underage girls. You said the same thing to them before you admitted to it. So that's why it's hard for me to believe that, because I hear what you're saying. And you said the same thing when I know for a fact that you were lying, because then eventually you told the truth.
Well, yeah.
Eventually you did.
Yeah.
So you telling me that you,
Once they put the pictures out and they're
yeah, uh huh,
like, here's the evidence we got. Yeah, I'm like, yeah,
absolutely.
of course, right.
And that's why it's hard to believe that. Then, like Deputy Clinton said, you have this whole stack, and I mean, you can argue like the small town thing again. Absolutely, you can argue that you are a concerned citizen, that this happened in your backyard, close. You can argue that for sure. But when you throw it into you literally talking to her right before she was killed, then then you tell me investigators that you only talked to her once and then you blocked her?
That's what I remember. Okay? I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
You said,
But what I'm saying is my memory, that's what
so
happened. I
why do
don't
you
remember
have
over talking to her.
altered memory? I feel that you feel somewhat responsible
For what?
for them dying.
Why would I feel responsible for something I know nothing about? What do you mean?
You don't, I mean you. When you tell me I know nothing about this, right. That doesn't make sense because you researched it.
I did not
You
research it.
researched.
Oh my god, every single person that like Google searched about them dying is a
But
suspect?
those people don't tell me, well, I know nothing about this case. I don't know anything about this case. I never talked to the girl that died.
Because I don't remember ever talking to the girl that died.
I. I'm telling you, you did.
Okay, I get that what you're saying, me, but I don't remember that. So I'm not lying to you if I don't remember. Doesn't get any clearer than that. In my opinion, it's my new catchphrase, guys. In my opinion, all right, so I wanted to go over the Barbara McDonald. Actually, I need to go back to page 3. Let's start here. Actually, let's catch up on the chat real quick. There's only a couple. Good one, Bill. Nonviolet says, if you ever have interrogated a middle school kid about who threw the rock, then you know the tactics that KK is using. Well, I've never interrogated a middle school child for throwing a rock, but as a middle school child, I myself was interrogated many times for throwing rocks. So I get the gist. Exactly, Big Fish. He's not going to, he thinks it's all a big game. It's almost like he's like, I don't mind prison, you know? He's like, you guys are my new daddy. The government's my new daddy. Shit, he even has a fucking phone. What's the, that, you know? He's back doing the same thing he was before he went to jail. Fucking sitting around getting fat and sexting, catfishing. The pizzas. We all need the pizzas. All right, let's take a look. This was a really good interview, and I know we didn't get all of it right away. So let's take a look at what the murder sheets put out the transcript. Kegan Klein says, I was at my house. They have my GPS location and everything. So why would they have his GPS location? Just from like maybe one of his phones, Google, Apple? I don't know. Barbara asks him, and you were on in Peru, Indiana. He said, yeah. Okay. That you created this fake profile, Anthony Shots. Is that correct? Yeah. So Anthony Schatz was communicating with Libby. That's what they. Now, right here, he's kind of like, well, that's what they say. That's what they said. And that course, that matches with what was going on in his police interview. So he's sticking to that story, playing dumb, really. Prove it was me, and then I'll admit it. Why else would I? He's always leaving that out. No, not that I remember, but that's what they're saying. So you may have been communicating with Libby, but maybe not. So she's pretty sneaky with that. That was a good try. She should have just said, so you may have been communicating with Libby. She should have stopped right there. He said, right. And were you ever trying to meet these girls in real life? No. That you were talking to? No, never. So you were asking for images, right? And about whether this was just, no, I had no clue. I asked them, hey, what is this for? And they told me to shut the hell up and get in the car. Dude, nobody believes that. Well, maybe. If they were convinced he was involved in the double homicide of Abby and Libby, they might have. And so you are aware whether you may have talked to Libby on the 13th? That's what they said. That's what the police tell me. See, what the hell? See, he's not all the way dumb. That much I know. That you did? Yeah. And do you have any recollection? No, not at all. And I've told them 100 times I've done everything they've wanted. It's like they're just harassing me. So were you surprised that all of this came out this week? See, I found this very interesting. Barbara asks him, for some reason I want to call her Barb. Barb asks, so were you surprised that all of this came out this week? Kegan says, oh yeah. They told me they were going to put out something, and I said, that's fine with me. I don't care, I'm innocent, so you can put out whatever you want. I have a friend in Texas that's texting me and telling me, hey, you're on the news here. So this is very important. This kind of shows you what's really going on with Kegan. This is like a cat and mouse game. He has the majority of us fooled, but I don't think he has. I don't think he's fooled investigators completely. So they were like, hey, if you don't fucking tell us what, we're going to basically put out this information and your face is going to be all over the media. You prepare for that, or are you ready to talk? So he tells them, that's fine with me. I don't care. I'm innocent. So you can put out whatever you want. And then, boom, exactly as they had promised, his friend in Texas is like, dude, you're famous. Because immediately I was like, well, give me a polygraph test. See, but we already know that Kegan knows that they're not admissible. So of course he wants a polygraph. Hey, give me a polygraph. Because he's going to fail it anyway and it won't matter. Because he has anxiety. Like, this dude's not that stupid. DNA or whatever you want, I'll do anything. So he's offering up DNA. Maybe he knows something that they can't get his DNA, or that he didn't leave any DNA. Or somehow he has access to the DNA that they do have. Yep, and a hair follicle test. Okay, so what kinds of things have these investigators been talking to you about? More about my case here and then my involvement with that, with the Delphi. Okay, yeah. You have been to Delphi? No. He says no. And then the very next thing he says is, I was in Delphi in high school for a football game. Have you been in Delphi? He's trained his mind to say no. So the first thing that comes out, no. And he's like, I was in Delphi in high school for a football game. So the answer is yes. I was in Delphi in high school for a football game, but that's the only time I've ever been in Delphi. Bullshit. Have you been out to the Monon High Bridge? I have no clue where it even is. I couldn't even tell you how to get to Delphi. Now, do you guys really believe that? Do you really believe that he doesn't know how to get to Delphi? Might need to do another poll, huh? Let's go ahead and let me see if I can get this done quickly. All right. So go ahead and hit up that little poll there. I'm super curious. I don't think the room's going to be split on this one because you guys are usually pretty open minded. All right. Keegan says, I have no clue where it even is. I couldn't even tell you how to get to Delphi. So why do you think investigators are putting so much focus on you right now? I have not a clue because I think it's now look, he's acting like, well, from the outside looking in, I think it's because they said I was the last person to talk to her, is what they've told me. See, he's playing like he thinks he's fooling everybody. I think it's working. And then she shows up at the bridge and they're abducted and later found dead. He says, right. And that was not you. No, 100% no. They have my See, and he keeps bringing up the damn GPS. And he had his phone, one of his phones was connected to a Wi-Fi. He could have planned this shit. I mean, think about it. If we're going to put this into its simplest form, incel, maybe high, definitely a sadist, rough, extremely rough upbringing. I doubt we know even the half of it. I mean, it fits everything. He was bred to be a violent criminal, it seems. Let's see, 100% no. So he keeps talking about the GPS as if like he wants you to focus on these few certain aspects of the info. They can't. Oh, he says here, well, from my iPhone or from my phone. Yeah, okay, they can. I don't know how they do it, but yeah. And he's shown me. He's shown me that day all my GPS locations. You know what I mean? And none of them were in Delphi. No, not even close. Do you think investigators are thinking that your dad could be involved in the murders? Okay, so let's focus back on this. And he's shown me. He's shown me that day all my GPS locations, you know what I mean? I'm wondering if they can find another, since he has so many phones, did they check all his phones? Were they able to get two GPS locations from two separate devices and match them up? Because I mean, think about it. If you're kind of tech savvy and you're a sadist and a psychopath who literally stalks children online, and you guys forget this guy is really crazy. You're over here calling him in jail, and you got YouTubers over here who are like dating this man. This guy is a monster, is an animal. Think about what that transcript said about the different types of CSAM that were located on this guy's phone. We are dealing with somebody who has used the tools that he has and has everybody fooled. He was more than happy to do that interview because he knows how pathetic he looks right now. He's like, Well, shit, I'm going to turn it into a positive. I can use it to make me look like nobody's going to believe that I did that. And then again, he may not even be involved. This case is so crazy. Okay, so it looks like 72% of you so far say no. You don't think he is as dumb as he looks. But he could be. You know, there's a lot of cold cases where they end up like, hey, we kind of knew who the guy was, but then there was this other guy. You know, it's really frustrating how that plays out sometimes. All right. Okay. And he's shown me, so they showed him everywhere he went on the GPS. None of it was in Delphi, not even close. Do you think investigators are thinking it was your dad who did the murders? Well, I know about 2 Fridays ago, or it was, yeah, I think it was 2 Fridays ago. They raided him, and I'm not sure what it was about or what, but on the news, I saw them show the house, and then his neighbor who talked to police and said, or talked to the reporter and said that he was raided. But I've tried to contact him. He won't contact me back, so I don't know. See, we forget about this. Like, Kagan's not even involved at that point, and they're raiding Tony. I wonder what they were hoping to find. I mean, they had to have been following up on a lead. I wonder if he's playing dumb. I wonder if Kegan snitched at right here. I wonder if this is when he said something. Yeah, let's watch that video. I think I have this video that he's talking about. He says, I'm not sure what it was about. Then his neighbor talked to the police. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Yeah, and this video was very early on, too. I think Marv and Frank actually talked to Callista. I mean, she seems nice. At least I thought I had the video. I may have been lying. Oh, there it is. Let me put it full screen here for you guys. So yeah, that's the broadcast that he was referring to. So let me pull this back up. This will be the last that we touch on here, and then we'll move on to something else. Okay. Catch up on the chat real quick. Straight from the horse's mouth. Good to see you. It sounds like someone has a problem with the fat boy and decided to set his ass up. It's possible. I mean, we just need something more solid. And I'm sure it sounds like law enforcement. I think they like Kegan for this. That's what it sounds like. And that's the reason I wanted to read the transcript out that way, because I wanted to kind of get the emotions that were behind it. And you can tell Kegan was kind of being cocky. Like, especially the part when they were talking about O.J. Simpson. Like, there was a whole lot of sarcasm during that part. Hey, Anna says, is he really that stupid? Can't find Delphi 35 miles away? Young America's even closer. Yeah, of course he could. Even what was his name? Bart? Some guy named Bart was interviewed by the Murder Sheet podcast. I think he's like ex step brother of Kegan. I think his mother at one point was married to Tony Kline, and actually, I think his mother was the one that was part of that whole um, being hit in the face, and then the son being smashed into the toilet incident. If I'm not mistaken, correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. Right. Well, that girl Kayla said he claimed to be from Galveston. A non-violet says, in my opinion, KK has survival tactics, but emotionally he is stuck at like age 12. Yes, I completely agree. And that might be why he's interested in women that age. He's stuck right there. Everything else is a defense mechanism. And on the live stream we did, might have been the last one, we talked about Jeffrey Dahmer and how afraid he was of rejection. I just don't know how, it kind of reminds me. I don't know if you ever just stay in your house too long and you're like, oh shit, I got to get outside. You realize you've been inside too long. You need to go out and do something. Now imagine if you've been living your whole life that way, but you don't ever go outside. You just blow up after you create probably some sick fantasy. All right, let's keep it moving here. So we tried to contact him and he won't contact him back. So what is your relationship like today? We today with my dad, yeah, we don't talk at all, but up until, and why is that? I don't know. Up until about 2 weeks ago, he would talk to me every day, come out and view me at the visit or have a visit with me all the time. So I don't know. Does that make Tony look suspect, or does that mean he's like starting, maybe law enforcement found something in that second raid that convinced Tony further that his maybe disgusted him about his son, or they convinced him that he was involved in the murder. But I did hear rumors that shortly after he just went back to like visiting him and stuff like that. Alrighty, let me see what else I got here. I think I have about another 30 minutes possibly. Yeah, let's go into this J. Kyle Keener stuff. It seems more and more important to me now. Wait, where the hell is that? Oh, there it is. Okay. Catch up on the chat here. Big Fish says, except why wouldn't he just say he didn't make that account and lied about everything else? Even the cops don't think it's him. Well, they showed him. They proved that it was him. They had it on all of his devices. That had him like his emails and stuff were all attached to it. Like they basically proved like, dude, we know it's you. And then he went, okay, yeah, I did it. So as soon as they can prove if he did do this crime, as soon as they can prove it, he's just going to come flat out with all the information. But they have to prove it in front of him. They have to prove it to him that they can convict him in court. I'm telling you, he's not as dumb as he looks. Maybe. In my opinion. In the CSAM ring. Did KK do this to climb the hierarchy in the CSAM ring? Yeah, he could have been making some money, maybe. Maybe he was like some high profile person in the community who knows that if they went, on Craigslist or whatever and searching for something like what they considered the dark web or whatever, that they'd probably get in trouble, They don't want to run the risk. But hey, I heard about this guy. I'll just get it from him. And maybe that's why he created the Emily Ann stuff, just to go and communicate with other pedophiles. It sounds like some of them, they're just like, you're pathetic, I'm pathetic, let's share our stuff. Sometimes I wonder if it's like that. Exactly, non-violent. Fits the bill. I could see something like that, Anna. I just don't know enough about, psychology and psychopathy. In quotation marks, like Bruiser. Psychopathy. Rest in peace, man. Psychopathy. That used to crack me up when he would do that. Yeah, I don't buy it, Laura. He's a bullshit artist. So a lazy fat weedhead killed 2 kids and left no DNA. The FBI found no evidence. Either he's innocent or he's a Hannibal Lecter. So I'm saying this is not a Hollywood movie. If this guy had, let's say, to me, he could have been planning this. That whole Kayla story, if that's true, and he said those things to her, like, I'm going to cut your throat and watch you bleed out. I mean, that's oddly, and sadly familiar. Way too familiar. So if he's been trying since 2014, and he's learning and evolving as he goes, and he's able to fool us, I've been fooled, or I could be wrong. And I'm not saying this is a fact, right? I'm just saying let's go down this, this road. Bear with me, so to speak. Hear me out. All right. Hey, Jacqueline. Yep, he handed an iPhone later on. Oh, and that reminds me, on the news, like 3 different news stations got the information wrong. They said he put a phone in the microwave to try to destroy it. That's not what happened. When he came home from his interview, he walked inside his house and his phone was on top of the microwave. Sorry, did I say microphone earlier? Microwave. Yeah, definitely played a part. I mean, doesn't it always? Yeah, stop sending him money. If you're calling him and sending him money, stop it. Now, if he gives you something very interesting that would be of value to law enforcement, you can always lie and say you're going to give him money. Give it to me and then I'll pay you. You go first. I don't understand, Big Fish, because whoever, if the killer is tied to the Anthony Shots account, that means the killer did do that, because they don't know who the killer is. And if Kegan Klein is the killer, then he did get away with it so far. By the way, there was a lot of hand movement there when I was talking. All right, I think I'm pretty much caught up. Res Kid says KK has indications of being abused. Oh, he most definitely was abused. I think he says that. I wish I could somehow get a hold of his childhood drawings. John Bennett drawings in first grade indicated child abuse. That's interesting. Creepy as hell, but interesting. You're going to give his neighbors too many ideas. Hey, you got any of those old drawings laying around, Tony? What? He could have looked up Marathon as a location close to the house he was going to around there. To be around there. So now he passes a dark shadow on his dad. Rite of passage, is that what you mean, Tamara? Yeah, that could be true, Marv. I don't know for sure. I don't know how close they were. Maybe KK is both of the personalities using the devices. KK and Anthony shots. Was KK trying to provide young girls to dad in return for parental love and respect? I don't know. It's a little deep for me. Not far at all. Just across the freeway. So you got, well, actually, it's probably the same distance, like as a straight line, the Marathon gas station to the south end of the bridge, as probably the south end of the bridge to the parking lot near the Freedom Bridge. It's almost the same distance. It's not very far at all. There's just no real road or pathway to get to it. You got to take like different roads, and you can jump on the freeway or the highway or whatever. Take this exit, go back up the hill, park. So it's close, but if you're driving it, you kind of got to take the scenic route. Yeah, but he tried to make it seem like friend one did it. They weren't buying that, so now he's like, well, they got to my dad, so I guess he's not going to hang out with me anymore, so I guess I'll start putting it off on him. Hey, that's a good point. Psych 101 says they wanted to catch him with CSAM when KK wasn't there. Yeah, that would have been amazing. Yeah, that is a good strategy, huh? Try to catch him unexpected with his guard down, doing some more stupid Anthony shot stuff. Good one. I like that. Oh, Marv, are you talking about Callista? Is that what that comment is for? Sonny did? Oh, I thought it was Marv. Yeah, it does. I do that sometimes. I just pull up my Illustrator and I take all my images and I just kind of scatter them, move them around. That's why you'll see some of my thumbnails look like that. Can't hear me? Uh-oh. Hold on. No sound. Can you guys not hear me? Hello. Hello. You guys like Billy Crystal? City Slickers? Hello. 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 That shit's funny. Thank you, Lorraine. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in. So J. Kyle Keener, he's a journalist and a photographer, and I think he was working, yeah, right here, Pharaoh's Tribune, back in 2017. There was a rumor that he actually got fired because he took photographs of the crime scene, and that may be what was behind Tony in that picture. So we'll take a look at that too. Oh, there was no sound when I played the video. Oh, that's fine. I mean, I just wanted you guys to see it anyway. They don't say anything that we didn't already go over. Sorry about that. What's going on? Calm down, Automobile. Everything will be just fine. There you go. Thanks, Laura. Pharaoh's Tribune is Logansport paper. That is correct. And this might even, I think he put this on Twitter, though, if I'm not mistaken. He says here, it has been a tragic day in Carroll County, Indiana, the scene of a double murder. One thing they never teach you in journalism school is how creepy it feels to have to cover a homicide. For several hours, I photographed the search for two missing 13-year-old girls. This type of endeavor is stressful for the searchers, the first responders, and also the media at the scene. Detectives found the bodies of two missing teens near a rural hiking trail below the abandoned Monon High Railroad Bridge. The bridge itself is incredibly beautiful, making it difficult to witness a horrific murder scene so nearby. From 75 yards away, I could see girls' clothing in Deer Creek, west of the bridge, and knew full well that the girls were found very nearby. So he actually saw the bodies. So that means that either he went down on the south side of the bridge and was able to use his lens to kind of zoom in, or he was able to, maybe his lens was high powered enough to actually reach from the location he was at. To walk in the place that the murder had walked only a handful of hours earlier is extremely upsetting, but as a journalist, it is part of the business that simply needs done to tell the news of our area. So let's take a look at this. No, don't need that. Bossy says there's pictures of him there, I believe, and he took the photos from the bridge. Yeah, I'm going to show those photos here in a minute. But I want to go over this map with you guys and get your opinion. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so 75 yards out, I mapped it and I measured it. It's right here in this area. And this is where he says girls' clothing. And down here is where Kelsey German reported that Libby's shoe was found. And in between both of these is where the staging area was. On the ground, 50 yards from the water line. Or 50 feet, I'm sorry. 50 feet from the water line. And if you measure this right here, from the center of this red dot to the edge of this water line, it's exactly 50 feet. So my question is, how is it that there's clothing just sitting here in the water? I mean, are we to believe that it fell in somewhere in this area and then just over the course of the night and early on in the morning, it just kind of went downstream this way and just magically stops right here? You know what I mean? To me, I found that very strange. It was almost as if somebody in the morning came walking this way and threw them, or came down here, or maybe even early that morning on the edge and threw them into the water. Unless you think it's very possible that it just went downstream and stopped. What do you guys think about that? There was something white stuck on a piece of driftwood. Yeah, that brings up another thought. Actually, a question I would like, and I actually reached out to J. Kyle Keener, but I haven't heard back from him. I don't know if it doesn't seem like he was on his Twitter for a while, so maybe I'll just look up maybe a current email address. So I don't know. It's very strange. That's not nice, Bodacious. But yeah, in some cases. And Lisette says Keener's description doesn't seem to make sense. Did the clothing float down the creek, or did killer leave that way? Or did the killer add things during the search? See, that's what I was thinking, because there's people walking around early in the morning. So here, let me show those images. See what you guys think about this. And these are all the photos from J. Kyle Keener. I think it might have been while he was with the Pharaoh's Tribune. Okay, so right around the time he saw the clothes, these guys were coming back, it appears, from the south end. And this was a Twitter post. Or is this Facebook? I can't tell. It says here, the two missing young teen girls were hiking near the Monon High Bridge where two searchers looked for them near noon Tuesday. So this is before they were found. And these two guys are coming back from the south end of the bridge around the time that he saw those clothes. So 75 yards, 225 feet. So it's actually even closer than what I originally had on there. So yeah, he could easily have seen that. So I'm going to go through all of his photos that I found online. And we'll spend a little bit of time on each of these. They're all really pretty good. Maybe the girl's clothing was unrelated. I don't think so. I mean, they're looking for two missing girls. Two girls were found with some of their clothing missing, and he saw a girl's clothing in the water. I mean, I definitely would bet money it's related. I think Keener edited pictures for nefarious reasons. I know for a fact a photo of one of the detectives searching was wearing a white hazmat suit. Keener changed it and said that it was. Well, that sounds like a conspiracy. I can't verify that. I really want to talk with him because I know everybody would have a million questions for him. So, J. Kyle Keener, if you're out there, or if anybody can relay a message over to him, you could please shoot me an email, please. Yeah, why edit something like that? He blocked unresolved crimes when he reached out. He didn't block me. I don't even think he's read the message. I'll have to take a look. Here, let's take a look at some of these photos here. So that's Tony Leggett right there. Tony's, we've emailed each other a few times back and forth. He knows me from Julian Powell. He's the guy that asked me to send him a copy of the CD of the conversation. And then I asked him for a comment on the current status of the investigation, and he couldn't. He wouldn't give me a comment. And I'm sure that's because of his political issues right now. So we're probably going to close out with discussion on this. So I'm going to unhook my phone here. Doesn't look like we're going to get calls. So I'll have another number generated on the next live stream anyway. Friend of the family, the searcher was then wearing jeans coveralls. Yeah, I have that on here. So let's go through these. So this is the infamous flattened area. Early on, I don't know if you guys remember, but people were like, look, it's flattened. That's where they were. So I don't know how true that is. But I also know that there's most likely where deer were laying or walking. I'm not sure. But somebody was trying to tell me that just behind Tony here, Detective Slocum, that this is the crime scene back here. And that that's the same area that the captain and Greeno and all those people, I think even Hoosier Cold Cases was out there. And they filmed this area where the trees were all cut down. Because I think what happened is that's where they were staged within these trees. And I'm wondering, in order to maybe view it better or maybe get in there, I'm not sure why, but they might have been motivated to cut those trees down. So I'm pretty sure this is where somebody was climbing up there. I mean, you can see these footprints. Could have been searchers. I don't know, deer, animal. I'm not sure what kind of animals are out there. I think there's foxes out there too. I'm not sure. But apparently, this may be the crime scene right here, somewhere back here in this thick brush. And I think J. Kyle Keener may have gotten into some trouble for this photo. Even though you can't see anything, just him, I think, posting this image. But I don't know how true that is. Hopefully when if I get a chance to talk with him, I can ask him about that. Yeah, maybe. That's possible, double rainbows. Yeah, so this is one of his earlier photos. This one is a little bit harder to find. It's hidden within a web page on the Pharaoh's Tribune. They have it in a collection of images that was taken before. So this is basically, I think, one of the family members of J. Kyle Keener. And they're just out there together on the bridge, and they know that, the search is going on. He's probably just, as a photographer, taking the time to go out there. But they got out there around 10 a.m., I believe. So if you look at the size of this guy, he doesn't seem like he's very tall. So it makes me think that, I mean, if you compare him to this small child, he's not much bigger. And that's kind of where I have Bridge Guy right there. Maybe a little bit taller, 5. This guy seems like he might be the same height. 5'8", 5'10". He seems more around 5'8", 5'6", 5 to 5'8" area. But I think the suspect in Libby's video is a little bit, shoulders are a little bit broader. Actually, this guy looks a little like he might be around a little bit even shorter. Yeah, it could have been part of the staging. I don't trust anybody, let alone journalists. But that's just me. Oh, Stephanie, he's a photographer and he has really strong lenses. He can focus right in on them, zoom in and out. He could have easily have seen it. Hazmats because Deer Creek water is toxic. Great post on Reddit regarding that topic. He's square. We love J. Kyle Keener. He's square. How square is he? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they all dress the same, just like Ron Logan. Yeah, Brad Heath. Yeah, he's still online. He has a lot of stuff online, a lot of photography. Yeah, some of his stuff is dark, but I mean that's what artists do. They express themselves. When I was painting, I had a lot of dark paintings. Nothing really gory, but definitely dark. What's up, Frank? Good to see you, man. Hey, Michelle. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go live tomorrow. Maybe sometime early. Maybe I'll catch you early. You can be my guinea pig. What's up, Jessica? Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember. Good to see you, Seven. Or a canoe. Yeah, it's too close to the water and it'd probably be cold. But I'm wondering if at some point in the sun, like they come down there and get some water and it's nice, sun is shining, you know, screw it. Let's just lay down right here. Especially because that embankment kind of protects them from the back a little bit. And I'm sure they cross that creek all the time. They know if somebody was to jump up at them, they could easily just sprint right across that creek. But yeah, that's not a typical place they would bed for sure. Be somewhere more hidden. But I also know, I think there was some snow that had recently melted. Yeah, footprints were leading to the body right where the shoe was found. So it was leading across the creek directly where the bodies were found and right where um, Tony Leggett was in those images. Anna says, I have done search and rescue and earlier this year, search and recovery. I look for anything of interest. Hard to figure out how girls' clothing could have been missed. I agree. Maybe they didn't, because I know they searched in canoes and they went into town. I know Mike Patty mentioned something about that. I have a feeling they just didn't start far enough upstream. Okay, Olivia, that makes sense. Because if you watch that video, the captain, Hoosier Cold Cases, and I think Anthony Greeno, they're walking through. They pinpointed where the crime scene was, and they're all there, and all these small trees. I don't know if I'd call them saplings, maybe, but they didn't look too big, and they were all cut down. It was like a dozen of them, and then right smack dab in the middle was this deer camera. Did they overlook that? Was there no reason to observe it? Did they know who put the deer camera there? Um, and maybe they just used it for evidence, possibly. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Very suspicious, though. Thank you for coming and hanging out. I mean, if we're going to talk about the case, we might as well do it together. Put all our heads together. Yeah, so I think these are family members here of J. Kyle Keener. So I think they were just all there together, and he was trying to gather some information on what was going on there. But I don't see any. If you look down to the left of the bridge, to the right of the bridge, I don't see any people searching down there. I don't see anybody. And that could be because there might not be a reason to. You got a good view from the bridge. So maybe there are people back there a little bit further in the thick of it. Bonnie says, I used to volunteer at KGHP, Peninsula High School radio station. High Gidge Harbor. Shout out. That's a good question, Rez. Who does that? Maybe somebody familiar with bridges. Maybe somebody familiar with that bridge. Maybe he's the crazy uncle. Yeah, that ground is definitely disturbed quite a bit right there. Well, psych. I haven't seen anything remotely close to making me think that. Nowadays, digital anomalies are like the easiest thing to prove. Bossy says, I just don't understand how they couldn't have seen them on the 13th. Well, that's a good question. I always go back to this image and it makes it seem much easier. Okay, imagine no light. Okay. And apparently this is where they were located. These might even be the very trees that were cut right here. These are the size of the trees that I saw in that video, but I don't know. They would have to verify it. So somewhere right in here could possibly be the crime scene. Back, and maybe a little bit further back here. But look how tall this grass is. So just imagine there's no light, and I think a lot of, I think one of the girls was completely covered. And I don't know too much about thermal drones and all of that, so I'm not sure. But I know it would be hard to, if the bodies were moved and dumped later, and this is like a dump site, which is actually a technical term. I think somebody would have seen him coming and going. Would have been extremely suspicious. Yeah, and he's coming over here to check this all this out, I'm sure. But yeah, that's what I was thinking of when I read your comment, Bossy. Is this image here of all this weird thick brush? And this must be where he saw the clothing. Maybe somewhere back here. From a different angle, maybe. But he claims he saw it over here. East of the bridge. Yeah, that's true, Anna. And I'm wondering if they thought this was an abduction. I have a theory that right around 9 o'clock when they called off the search, I think maybe one of the friends came forward and was like, "Hey, look, I took a screenshot, or my screen recorded this, or I have this video on my Snapchat, that Libby put out right before she went missing, and there's a guy behind her." And maybe they were like, "Well, this is evidence. We need to get our hands on this." And it's at that point they were like, "Well, we looked everywhere, around here. Maybe they got abducted, or maybe they didn't even know they were on the bridge." So it's hard. Hindsight's always 2020. Of course, we know now because they found him, and we know what happened. They went down that hill and across the creek somehow. But they didn't know that when they went missing. So they had no reason to know that they were just right over there. All right. We're going to get ready to close it out here. Oh, this is probably where he saw the clothing when he was down here taking photos. All right, guys. I ran out of time. I thought I'd have a little bit more time, but I do not. So about 5 more minutes, we'll hang out and chat, and then we'll close her out. Yeah, Tammy, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if the crime scene was mostly on the south side of the creek, just below that bridge, that little flat area there. And they may have panicked and said, "Hey, well, I gotta get them out of this area and hidden, over here." And I just don't see Ron Logan doing that. Yeah, I'm not sure, Ann. I'm going to look into that. That's a good point, Tammy. If they were drowned, there was no sign of a struggle. Yeah, that's correct. There was no sign of a struggle. which makes me think that they knew this person or they were fooled by this person or whatever ruse the killer was using was working, maybe. Yeah, Michelle, I hate saying it, because just thinking of somebody dumping a body just doesn't sound nice, but yeah, it's a technical term. Yeah, seems to be working for him, Bonnie. Yeah, honeybee. That's how I feel when I talk with CD a lot. He's very desensitized to it all. He can just talk about it. The body was laying like this, this and that. To me, I can talk about it. I'm adult enough to have the conversation, but I'm still not. I'm still a little squeamish to it, I guess. Thanks, Lorraine. Thank you, boss. Thanks, Derek. Good to see you as always, my friend. You're welcome, Double. Thanks for participating in the chat. I really appreciate it. Got it, Holly. Thanks for hanging out. Later, guys.